Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 12 of the interview playlist. Our special guest for today is Wen. Wen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Wen Teo. I'm the director at Epicenter, which is the Entrepreneurship Practice and Innovation Center at the University of Windsor.
Awesome. So let's start from the very beginning with your education background, your high school, and your university.
Sure. I attended high school in Malaysia. I'm originally from Malaysia. And I attended University of Toledo for my bachelor degree in business administration. And then after that, I started working. And then, about 10, 12 years ago, I attended University of Windsor, and I started my MBA program at University of Windsor.
Awesome. How was your bachelor university experience, and how was the transition from high school into university?
It's different, right? Because even different countries, so everything is different. In Malaysia, we did learn English as part of our education, but again, we also learn other languages. So like Malay, which is the national language for Malaysia, and I am ethnicity wise, I am Chinese, so we learn Mandarin. The high school that I attended was a Chinese school, so we every subject was taught in English, Chinese, and Malay. So, at the same time, we learned three different languages. And I think that better prepared me, for my university education, because, it was in the United States and it was in English. A little bit of hard time adjusting to, because, the accent is different. So we had to learn to really listen to and to comprehend the spoken language. The written language is there's no problem, right? So when you read it, it's in English. You can understand, but the one of the challenges was about the comprehension because of the accent. But I had a part-time job attending University of Toledo, and that's when I learned also like the communication skill and customer service, because I worked in a fast food restaurant within the university on campus, and I would say that I spent majority of my life going through my undergrad degree just working and studying, so didn't really participate in any social activities on campus. It was busy for me, and it was what I was really young at the time. Um, but after that, I got a job in the States, and I worked there. So I didn't get into my MBA degree until I think 12 years after I graduated from my bachelor degree. Things were a little bit different. I mean, then my going from Malaysia high school to bachelor's degree in the US, and then MBA, graduate degree in Canada. So all my education I obtained from three different countries, right? So Canada, and especially Windsor, very similar to United States, and we are just an hour away from Toledo, so it really felt very, very similar to in terms of um, the culture, and also the environment, even the climate, the same, right? Attending MBA, it was fun, because I had some work experience going into my degree, but I was also one of the older students in the group, because me and a few other students, we were in our early 30s. Most like majority of other students were in their 20s, so they just graduated bachelor degree and they went into the MBA program. So that's the age gap was a little bit I wouldn't say challenging, but we had different interests, and I was married at the time, so I didn't have any children yet, but I, I consider myself more mature compared to my other students. But working in teams, working in groups, we all went it worked very well. We, and because MBA, we had a big group of students. There was 40 of us, and we went to every classes, with the same group of students. So we really formed that relationship, the friendship, and it was great. Going through that. Because my bachelor's degree was in business as well, so I didn't have a lot of challenge, going into like more advanced subjects in business. And I think having work experience really helped me in understanding some of the subject matters, and especially when we had to work like projects that working with real companies, or working with other teams. So it was a great experience. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So, yeah, let me ask you, since you studied business at University of Toledo, what was the primary thing that, like, I would say, inspired you or influenced you to study business in the first place?
To be honest, going from high school to university, and I'm sure you probably felt the same way. You probably didn't know what you wanted to do, right? So at the time, like, I didn't really know what I was interested in, and coming from Malaysia, there are usually a few fields that students will get into when they went on to undergrad degree. So usually they study in business, engineering, or maybe law, medicine. So our focus growing up in Malaysia was very narrow. Those are the few fields that we were familiar with. And so when I had to choose something, so I just kind of, okay, let me just choose business. And that's how I got into it, without knowing what I really wanted to do, what I was interested in. And within the business degree, we had different concentration, just like here in Windsor. And originally I chose finance because, again, I didn't know what I was interested in. So, I was just, okay, let me just get into finance. And in my junior year, so the third year, it was when we had to select all the subjects that are like finance courses, because that's when you start your concentration. First 2 year, we studied, everything, right? From sociology to psychology to biology. We took different courses. And then the first week when I was in my major, finance, I realized that, that's not something that I was interested in. So I switched my major or concentration to MIS, which is Management Information System, and I liked it. So, um, in hindsight, I probably should have chosen computer science as the degree rather than business. But again, I couldn't afford to redo my degree, right? Or like waste it's, I mean, it's costly, because as an international student at the University of Toledo, the tuition was 3 times higher than domestic students. So I didn't have the luxury of changing the degree, but rather I took that major, and I was interested in MIS and computers. So that I didn't regret it a bit. I mean, it was great. There was something that I was really interested in. So I was glad that I changed my major from finance to MIS.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
What was the main reason which made you decide to study abroad, and why did you choose the United States?
Yeah, so in Malaysia, we didn't have a lot of public universities. They were very, very competitive. I wouldn't get into the details of the competitive and how the criteria of getting into the university. Grade is one thing, but there are other factors that would affect you getting into a university. And also, even if you get into a university in Malaysia, there's no guarantee that you will get into the field that you are interested in. So it's subject for another time. But I was privileged that my family could afford to send me to university abroad, and so, and again, didn't know why I chose didn't know why I choose University of Toledo. It was peer influence. So I group of friends that, we were trying to pick a university, and this friend of mine, his brother attended University of Toledo, and also other friends. Then he said, well, let's just apply. Okay, so a bunch of us applied to University of Toledo, and some of us got into the university, some went to other university in the States. That's how we pick the university. I mean, there are thousands of university in United States, right? It's sort of random.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a funny story. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's I do relate to it, and how peer pressure actually has plays a factor in deciding which university you go to. Okay, so what are I would say, the primary differences between a bachelor degree and a master's, in terms of courses and in terms of the overall experience and how it's relevant to the work experience?
So the business degree that I had from University of Toledo, they didn't have a co-op option like here. So even I'm not sure if you're familiar with the bachelor BCom here at university, right? They have
Yeah.
an option for co-op, and I think that is a very, very great option, or that will enable students to gain experience before they graduate. But when I got into my degree, there was no such option. And as international student at that time, the only job that we could do was on campus. So most of us that had to work part-time, to make some money, we could only apply to on-campus job. And on-campus jobs usually food courts and restaurants type of job. They're great because you learn customer service, which I think is one of the most important thing for any type of business, regardless of the type of business that you're in, like for profit, not for profit, any type of business. So I really learned that skill there, and communication. So you could still learn relevant skills. It's just not very relevant to what I was studying, because I was studying MIS. I mean, the working in the restaurant, I didn't even have the chance to work in a computer, right? So but there are other soft skills that were relevant, that were able to acquire through that experience. And what's your other question?
Oh yeah, so I was asking, like, how did it yeah, like comparing bachelor's to master's, what do you think, like, if you were to choose some points from bachelor degree and some points from master's, which are the most points that helped you in the workspace?
So in my bachelor degree, I had to say that I didn't really get the most out of it. I mean, I got my degree and I graduated cum laude. So, I had, pretty high mark. But I didn't really take advantage of the extracurricular activities that were available. I think it was because it was very different from education in Malaysia. In a lot of Asian countries, students would just focus in academic, right? You didn't spend time on extracurricular, like joining a club, because you learn something different. So there was something like, right now, like looking back, that was something that I didn't do. And if my advice to undergrad students right now, I think you really need to take advantage of that, because you meet other people, you learn different skills, it expand your horizon. And for those who may be selecting a degree like me just because you don't know what you want to do, joining other activities, extracurricular activities, may give you some opportunities to learn something and to explore your interests. So you may encounter a different interest that will inform you that, okay, maybe this is not the right degree for me. Maybe I'll, change my degree before it's too late. So I think that's really important going into my graduate degree. And again, it wasn't a research-based degree. So it was very much course-based. So we had a lot of courses, but it's great that we had a lot of group projects and also real projects, right? So it's not hypothetical that, you know, you have to just write a paper, right? But it's more about working with real company, helping them solving a problem. Those were very, very helpful, because then it gave you the experience on, you know, working with, to be like a consultant, like a student consultant, right? And, you know, knowing how and when to communicate with your client, because they were our, you know, the clients, they were, you know, our projects, right? So in outside of classrooms, those were really those projects, I think, were really helpful and very beneficial for students, so that easing them into, you know, when you graduate and go work for someone, how, you know, what how does it how is it working for someone, right? How do you work with other people, like, you know, group works, like how do you, even though if you don't like someone in your team, you still have to work with them, and you know, that is real life, right? So how do you manage that? How do you manage the adversity in the team? And all those are very, very important skill sets to learn, and I think will be very helpful for students. And I learned that through my MBA course, and I'm very grateful for the experience that I was able to gain.
Yeah, for sure. That's very insightful, and it does prepare you for real world scenarios, which are likely to encounter when you start your professional career. Okay, let's go over the positions which you held after you graduated from your MBA program.
Mm-hmm. So after MBA, because again, I was involved in working different projects, and so I was able to, you know, meet with other professors that had other projects available that they could hire students. So I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity for working with a professor on as a project manager for a course that she ran. And because of that, I expanded by my network by, you know, knowing other faculty members or researchers from the university, and also got to know other staff members as well. So after I graduated from my university, you know, at the time I was also really don't know where I want to get into, right? Because, you know, my background was in computer. I was a computer programmer, or right now they call software developer, for several years after my undergrad degree, and I was always interested in getting into this back into the same field. But I also worked for a financial institution, so, you know, a computer programmer in a financial institution. So that's the industry that I was in. I after graduated from my MBA, I wanted to get into similar industry, but in Windsor, because I already lived in Windsor at the time. If you were to work for a financial institution, there's no computer related work, because those works would be held in headquarters, which usually in Toronto, and that's not somewhere that I would want to move to. And if I wanted to stick with the same industry, then, you know, the jobs available here are in banking, you know, commercial banking or investment banking, which were also not the fields that I was interested in. So I was having a little bit of hard time figuring out, you know, career wise, what is my next step. But an opportunity with the Office of Research at the time, I was able to speak to the director, and through my MBA, I had a project with the Office of Research, and so I got to know the director at the time, and there was an opening for a part-time position for a research commercialization associate. So the position would be working with faculty members on campus, helping them with a commercialization plan. And, you know, so my skill set that I was able to learn from MBA. And so I had the opportunity to get that job, and, you know, one thing led to another as I worked at the Office of Research. And there was the time when the university was, you know, considering having a campus-wide entrepreneurship center. And again, I was able to work on a business plan with the director for the Office of Research. and along with a professor from the business school that ran a Center for Enterprise and Law, the center that had business and law students working together. So we all got together and developed a plan to apply for a grant that was available for universities and colleges across Ontario to establish a campus-wide accelerator program. So, we all put our heads together, we developed the grant, the proposal, and we submitted. And we were successful of getting the grant. And because of that, the university also committed with certain resources. At the time, the Joyce Entrepreneurship Center was being built with the purpose of having a space for an innovation entrepreneurship center. So everything kind of lined up at the same time. That's when Epicenter established. And I had the opportunity to apply for, at the time there was a position called Venture Start Director. The position would be to help work with startup companies to manage the operation for the Entrepreneurship Center. So I was able to apply to the job, and I was able to get the job. And that's how I started my career with Epicenter. So I never would have imagined getting into this type of, in a post-secondary institution working here. It wasn't the pathway that I imagined myself being into, but here I am. Sometimes life just takes you wherever that it sees fit.
Yeah, it's awesome how the experiences which you had led you into this position, and even the connections which you made, how they eventually lead you to your current position and even to future positions as well. What is your typical day like as, I would say, the program manager of the Epicenter?
So I every day is different because we just a little bit of overview. So on Epicenter, we help students and community members interested in learning about entrepreneurship skills or to start a business. So we have multiple programs that have different serve different purposes. We have events, we run competitions, all related to innovation and entrepreneurship. So my job as the director, I manage our team and making sure that we deliver relevant programming that would help students and community members learn the skills and to start a business and establish themselves in the community. So every day is different. I mean, we have our weekly meeting. We all get together just to know what everyone is working on for the week, and we plan for things that upcoming events, upcoming programs, and like right now we are actually planning for 2 new programs that are going to be launched in January and February. So I meet with my program manager, program coordinators who are in charge of their programs. Go through the plan, making sure that we can meet the timeline, and the structure of the program is what is needed to actually obtain to achieve the goals of the programs. And talk about marketing plans. So we have the program, we have the structure define. How do we reach out to students? How do we reach out to different groups or customer segments that the program is targeting? So we talk about that. We plan around that. And I also look for opportunities, funding opportunities to support future programs, forum partnerships with different organizations, whether we have similar goals to support entrepreneurs, or we can do something together, or maybe their programs can fill a gap of what we don't have. So looking for partnerships, how we can build a better programming to support our students. Talk to different faculty members, maybe deans, and see how Epicenter can support, enhance the students' experience or education at the university, and look for keep myself informed of the trends, and in entrepreneurship, things change so quickly. Technology changes quickly. Even the um, the mode of delivery certain programs, and the trends and the different theories out there, or different methods out there that help entrepreneurs. So I have to make sure that I I keep up with the trends, and then bring it back to our team. So as we design the next program, we know what we have to do, and we always look for improvement, right? At the end of one program, we go over the data, we go over the feedback from our participants, and see what else we can improve. So we are constantly experimenting and improving, so that we can better serve students and entrepreneurs.
Awesome. What's the most inspiring thing about working with young entrepreneurs and helping them develop their own business projects?
So they're all different, right? And it's great to see the enthusiasm and the passion from students, that what, while they come here, like, I have this great idea, like I'm really passionate into this, right? And seeing the different ideas and the different sometimes it is really creative ideas, and we have the opportunity to be a part of the experience. That's very inspiring. Sometimes you hear stories, different stories about what inspired them to start a certain thing. One company, because he was inspired by environmental, right? So the waste that goes into the landfill, and he was passionate of, like, I need to make a change. So you see that passion in them, and knowing that we are a part of their journey, that we are able to even play play a role in helping them be successful. It's very, very satisfying.
Yeah, that's very motivating and rewarding indeed. What are some advices you would give to students who do have ideas, but they're not sure how to start their journey into entrepreneurship?
Yeah. And then you see ideas, or you see solutions everywhere, right? Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you get into the light bulb moment, and then, oh, this may be something that could change the lives of someone's life. And I would say, if you don't know what to do, you come to us. We have our team is very helpful, and we have mentors, advisors that involved with epicenter, that can give them advice. And the first step is to take that one, the first step, just to see what you can do. Sometimes your idea works out, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it leads to a different idea. Whatever it is, come talk to us. Or if you don't want to talk to us, talk to your friends and see what they think. But we have a systematic approach to help students. So if you come and talk to us, and then we'll help you assess, right? Okay, if you're in this stage right now, in your ideation stage, you have an idea, you don't know what you should be doing next, then we can give you some advice on, okay, the first step you want to do is maybe do a competitor analysis, and see who else has the same product, and how can you be better than them. Are you more, is your product more unique, or is your product cheaper, or whatever it is. We will give you some tips and advice on how to pursue your idea.
Yeah, that's very awesome and helpful indeed. Thank you so much for taking us through your journey as a student and then as a professional, and telling us about what Epicenter has to offer to young entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for your time and being a guest speaker on my channel.
Thank you.